Hi, everybody. My name is David Mashian, and I'm Dave the Real Estate Guy. Today, we're covering Chapter 8 of our Commercial Real Estate Brokerage Boot Camp. We're going to focus on the subject of focus. So, you got to realize focus is super important because nothing will happen unless you are directly focused on the ends you want to accomplish. Sunlight without focus will not burn anything. However, when sunlight is focused through a magnifying glass, that same light will burn and create a flame when concentrated and directed to a single point. To light your business on fire, you must be focused. You got to know what the target is. What are you going after? What is your business? Now, a focus contains basically these four categories. What is the product type? What type of real estate? Number two, geographic area. Where are you focused? Is it a city, state, region, etc.? Number three, are you doing sales or leasing? And number four, is there a subspecialty to what you're doing? So let's start with the basic four food groups in terms of real estate. There's retail, there's office, there's industrial, and multifamily. And of course, there's multiple other types of commercial real estate. We're going to keep focused on the four because that's primarily what the business is about. These four, retail, office, industrial, multifamily, is what the vast majority of real estate is done under. What is your geographic area in your focus? Is it national? Is it regional? Is it state? Is it county or city? I was an apartment broker selling apartments in the city of LA, specifically in Hollywood, Silver Lake, Echo Park areas. The city of LA in and of itself is huge. I couldn't focus on the entire city. So I picked that area. I'd suggest that you pick something similar in terms of your product type and your geographic focus. Now, this is all going to be very different. So let's say if you have a retail focus, retail shopping centers, you might be focused in terms of depending on the size of the property. If it's a large property, let's say doing regional centers, you may be focused as a state in the state. If it's kind of strip centers, it might be to the county, right? So you want to see, or if you're doing triple net leases like for like a McDonald's kind of situation, you might do nationwide, or retail like Dollar General. That might be national as well. So your product is largely going to determine what your geographic area, depending on the transaction volume and availability of product in a specific area. So how do you determine the specialty? First, you want to go into an area with a high volume of transactions. When I picked Hollywood, Silver Lake, Echo Park, there was a lot of product and a good volume of transactions. There was an abundant supply of product, and the market trend supported the continuing demand for that property type. So you want to make sure you have that. If you're doing, let's say, strip centers, let's say do the region, let's say Southern California, or let's say Houston area. You want to make sure that there's enough properties in that area that's going to give you enough product that you can work with, that you're calling on. You also want to know that there's good transaction velocity there, right? So are the market trends supporting transactions in that property type? So you want to validate that. You want to do a little research. And you want to ask, if you're working in a big brokerage company commercial, they'll know. They'll be able to guide you. So definitely ask. So with all this information, you want to build your database, right? So if, let's say, you're focusing on apartment buildings, you want to know, okay, what are the properties in this area? How big are they? And what are their features? And where are they located? Who are the owners and the phone numbers I can reach them, right? So I broke it down. For me, I broke it down based on the property type. I had 16 units and bigger apartment buildings, and they were in certain zip codes in the areas, and 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 that was my focus. And I got my data from various resources. You can get your data as well, depending what your product is. And here's how you can build your database. There's companies like Reonomy, which has a nationwide database that you can subscribe to. Prospect Now is a great prospecting tool that has the information for property owners. LexisNexis gets into the really nitty-gritty of property owners. That's really detail-oriented. It won't necessarily give you the real estate information, but it'll give you the property owner if you can't get a phone number. LoopNet is a great resource in terms of finding what's for sale, what's for lease. Crexia as well, and of course the MLS for residential, but you may find multifamily is there, as well as some commercial. They do have commercial on certain MLSs. And CoStar has a lot of properties specifically for commercial. They're the kingpin in terms of basically the data for commercial. And of course Google Maps Pro and many others. This is how you can build your database. And of course, don't limit it to what I'm telling you here. There's always new resources coming out, and they're always improving. So definitely take advantage of the resources, but build your database. You want to know what properties are in the area, and you have access to those owners, their phone numbers, their emails, their LinkedIn profile, whatever helps you get in touch with these owners. So I know Prospect Now has sometimes the LinkedIn profile. Reonomy has their phone numbers and email. CoStar has the phone numbers. So it's all very good. And MLS has the comps and all the data, depending on which MLS you use. Now you want to refine your geographic focus, right? So you got to know your property product type and geographic focus. So like retail 0 to 4,000 square feet in Costa Mesa. That's your product type. That's a pretty large retail. Okay. Now you want to search how many properties are in that zip code. You pick a zip code 92626. Okay. You see there's 1,000. 92627 has 800. 92628 has 500. Okay, so you know the bulk of the properties are going to be in the 92626. Then you want to see what's the breakdown of the transaction volume per zip code. And you'll see that 92626 has 500, where 92627 has 200, and 92628 has 100. So relative to the numbers, you'll see that there's a pretty good transaction volume in 92626, 50%, right? And you got 25% in 92627, and you got 20% in 92628, right? So you can see that, okay, probably 92626 is going to have a good velocity of transactions based on the numbers. You're going to do more deals there probably than others. Okay, so this is very important in terms of understanding where you're going to focus. You want to focus where the deals are happening, where there's people motivated to sell. So when you're building your database, you're searching for property owner contact information. Like I mentioned before, those services have property contact information, but if you don't, you can look at LexisNexis, Prospect Now. Of course, you can do the title company. They don't really necessarily give you the phone numbers, but they give you the mailing address. Google search, you can search them up on LinkedIn or Facebook, 411.com. I've used all these. Believe it or not, I've searched some people on 411.com. Or the white pages, or the yellow pages, or CoStar. You search, you find out there's always more resources out there than there ever was. So make sure you get what you need, but make it so that you get the resources so you can make many calls. So how do you build your database? Okay, so you're building your database, finding property owner contact information. Okay, sometimes you can't get somebody's contact information, right? No matter what you do. So you can actually go to the tenant who's occupying that property. Say, hey, what's the contact for the landlord? I want to reach them for blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to say. Okay, you can contact the neighbors of an owner, right? They may know, very well know. And you can contact family members. Sometimes on a LexisNexis search, I did that. I couldn't reach him. I couldn't find him. So I contacted the relative and I said, "What's this guy's number?" And they would help. All right. So that's the end of chapter 8. We're going to move on to chapter 9. I'll see you later. Take care.